Okay. They're going to do a whole ceremony.
Yeah. You remember the seeds of all kinds? Famous last word. On May 10th, 1869, were railroaders. Some businessmen, some reporters, but the majority of the crowd was railroaders. They had spent the last 4 years working for the railroad. And so what we want to do, because they had such an important part in the ceremony, is we want you to assume the role of railroaders. Okay? Now imagine this. You worked the last 4 years for the railroad. You'd get up every morning with the sun, and you'd work all day long, either in the bitter cold or the blistering heat. And then as the sun went down, you went to bed. You'd work 6 days a week. Doing that, of course, you look forward to Sundays because that was your only day off. That was the day that you had to take care of the odds and ends you needed to, which was usually to visit the local taverns for a little bit of recreation. So this is the type of work they did, and they did that for a humongous sum of $1 a day. Do you think they were excited when this whole thing was finished? No. Boy, you really sound it. Yay! You weren't there. Yeah. How excited do you think they were?
Very. Yay!
Is anybody out there?
Yay!
You know, we want you to be the crowd. We want you to cheer as the officials give their speeches. Ladies and gentlemen, the day is May 10th, 1869. The location, Promontory Summit, Utah Territory. A very unlikely place for the culmination of a project or an undertaking that would mark the end of the Old West and the beginning of the New. The crowd, as you know, is both anxious and excited, right?
Right.
Anxiously awaiting that moment when a common ordinary railroad spike is driven into an ordinary railroad tie. That would mark or link the continent from east to west. A gentle breeze is blowing amidst an almost, well, in fact it is, a cloudless sky. And the thermometer on the the shaded side of the Central Pacific Telegraph car registers 69 degrees. Above the babble of voices can be heard the gentle hissing of the locomotives, which herald the dawning of this new era. A polished laurelwood tie has been placed in its ceremonial position by the construction superintendents of both railroads. Now, Edgar Mills, a wealthy banker and friend of the Central Pacific Railroad, steps forward and signals for silence. Now the nation, as well as the crowd gathered here, anxiously awaits this final conclusion.
Ladies and gentlemen, in behalf of the officials of both railroads, the Union Pacific and the Central Pacific, I bid you welcome. We are met today to commemorate the completion of a project, which is a remarkable example of the vision, the determination, and the labor of thousands of men in a union which this day shall be consummated forever. We are assembled here to link the ends of the earth, to complete a new and shorter route between Europe and the Orient, and to join the raw riches of the American West with the finished products of the industrial East. In this great venture under the guidance of Almighty God, we remember and pay homage to the hundreds of men who gave their lives, that you and I might stand here at this moment, one with another, and share this sacred occasion. It is also noteworthy that this Pacific Railroad has been completed 6 years ahead of the time allotted for its construction. Now, those whose presence we are honored to acknowledge at this time include a number of Pacific Railroad officials, in addition to those taking part in the ceremony. Newspapers. Welcome, gentlemen. Of utmost importance for us this afternoon is the telegrapher. Keeping the entire nation informed of these proceedings as they transpire. He is Mr. W.N. Schilling, Western Union operator from the Ogden, Utah office. And we take pride in the presence of a battalion of the 21st U.S. Infantry with their regimental band. Introduce a man who has come many miles to be with us today.
The human mind with its powers of invention, its capacity of expansion, and its guerdon of success. We have assembled here this day upon the height of the continent from varied sections of our country. We here consecrate this great highway for my people.
Enterprise of the world is about to be laid. To a large degree, the trade and travel of a continent is about to roll. And it is in this mode that California, within whose borders and by whose citizens the Pacific Railroad was inaugurated, desires to express her appreciation of the vast importance to her and her sister states of the enterprise which by her joint action is about to be consummated. And by the hands of her citizens, she offers them to become a part of the fellowship with her sisters of the Atlantic. Oh, nice. Good job, sir. Thank you, Dr. Harkness and Governor Stanford. Very well done. Now, it's my pleasure at this time to acknowledge the presentation of two other spikes of precious metals. A silver one from the state of Nevada was presented by Mr. F.A. Tridle, the United States Railroad Commissioner and a candidate for governor of that great and new state. And a spike of iron, silver, and gold was donated by the newly appointed governor of the territory of Arizona, the Honorable Anson P.K. Safford. Both of these spikes will now be presented to Vice President Thomas C. Durant of the Union Pacific Railroad, who will place them in their pre-drilled holes in the Laurel Tide. He was highly esteemed by those of us who are privileged to call him our friend. He is a Californian whose farsightedness has contributed in large measure to the success of this great enterprise.
Gentlemen, the Pacific Railroad companies accept with pride and satisfaction these golden and silver tokens of your appreciation of the importance of our enterprise to the material interests of the sections which you represent on this occasion, to the material enterprise of the whole country. East and west, north and south. Oh, yeah.
And the ball are wired to the transcontinental telegraph line, so the entire nation may hear the blows as the last spike is driven. Indeed, throughout the length and breadth of the entire nation, coast to coast and from north to south, people everywhere are anxiously awaiting.
You don't do it.
Right there. Okay. All right.
You know, we didn't use Now wait just a minute.
Go for it, Golf.
Okay, we will.
Hey!
Bulletin!
Now be careful.
All is ready. The spike will soon be driven. The signal will be 3 dots for the commencement of the blows.
Someone lend a hand.
This is your problem.
Nation of goods and people began. A nation was reborn. At the conclusion of that ceremony, and with the driving presentation of the golden spike and driving of the last spike, America's new Western life began. Here on May 10th, 1869. To conclude the ceremony, the engines will make a ceremonial run over the very last spot as they did in 1869.
Across the point here.